we go. Lexical analysis. The first phase of a scanner works as a text scanner. This phase scans the lexical code. This phase works. Lexical analysis. This phase scans the code as a stream of characters and converts it into meaningful lexemes. Lexical analysis. This phase scans the source code as a stream of characters and converts it into meaningful lexemes. Lexical analyzer represents these lexemes in the form of tokens. Classify lexical units into classes like constants, reserved words, and enter them in different tables. It will ignore comments in the source program. Example, x is equal to y plus 10. Tokens, x is an identifier, y is equal to is an assignment operator, y is an identifier, plus is an addition operator. So lexical analysis scans the source code, the input from the input which is in high level language as a stream of characters. It will scan it first and then convert it into meaningful lexemes. It will scan it, convert it into meaningful lexemes, and then represent these lexemes in the form of tokens. Classify lexical units into classes like constants, reserved words, and enter them in different tables. It will ignore the comments in the source program. Example, x is equal to y plus 10. Tokens, identifier y is equal to assignment is equal to is an assignment operator, equal to means an assignment operator, y is an identifier, plus is equal to addition operator, and 10 is a number. थोड़ा left करते हैं यार. Phase 2, syntax analysis. Determines whether or not a text follows the expected format. The main aim of this phase is to make sure that the source code was written by the programmer is correct or not. It takes all the tokens one by one and uses context-free grammar to construct parse tree. Syntax analysis determines whether or not a text follows the expected format. The main aim of this phase is to make sure that the source code was written by the programmer is correct or not. It takes all the tokens one by one and uses context-free grammar to construct the parse tree. Phase 2, syntax analysis. Syntax analysis determines whether or not text follows the expected format. There is an expected format for every text, and if the text doesn't follow that, syntax analysis points to it that there is a problem with the text is correct or not. So it's like it checks the format, the expected format. Expected format, we can say क्या है कोविनित expected format goes on कहाँ कोड गॉडनेट आइस तत्मस क्या in introduction this क्या है introduction इसमें declaration आइस गॉडनेट करित at the start of the program there can be declarations and initializations, and after that there can be the code, the functions, the calling, all those things. But the thing is, there is an expected format, which means that we can't declare something after writing its function and stuff. We have to declare it before. So that is the format. So main aim of this phase is to make sure that the source code was written by the programmer. The source code written by the pro was written is source code written by the programmer is correct or not. जो expected format होता है वो written by the programmer is correct or it takes all the tokens one by one and uses context free grammar to construct a parse tree. चलो ठीक है, इसके दो फंक्शंस हैं. क्या है पहला फंक्शन? क्या है? ये चेक करता है कि जो कोड है, जो टेक्स्ट है, वो एक्सपेक्टेड फॉर्मेट फॉलो करता है कि नहीं. और दूसरा क्या है, ये टोकन्स को पार्स ट्री में कन्वर्ट करता है यूजिंग कंटेक्स्ट फ्री ग्रामर, सीएफजी. सीएफजी क्या होता है? कंटेक्स्ट फ्री ग्रामर हमने थ्योरी ऑफ ऑटोमेटा कंप्यूटेशन में पढ़ा है. Syntax analysis is based on the rules based on specific programming language by constructing the parse tree. Uh, mhm. Syntax analysis is based on the rules based on specific programming language by constructing parse tree. Syntax analysis based on the rules based on specific programming language by constructing the parse tree with the help of tokens. Let me just have a look. Is the camera working nicely or not? चलो भाई देखते हैं. ठीक है. It's good. ठीक है. Obtain tokens from lexical analyzer. Check if the expression is syntactically correct or not. Report all syntax errors. Report all syntax errors. सिंटेक्स एरर क्या होता था मेरे को अभी तक याद भी नहीं, पता भी नहीं है शायद. तो सिंटेक्स एरर क्या होता है? सिंटेक्स एरर. तो सिंटेक्स एरर क्या है आसान? Syntax error is an error in the syntax of a sequence of characters or tokens that is intended to be written in a particular programming language. A syntax error is an error in the syntax of a sequence of characters or tokens that is intended to be written in a particular programming language. For compiled languages, syntax error is detected at compile time. A program will not compile until all syntax errors are corrected. अच्छा, okay. types of syntax error uh, does not understand, and ओके सिंटेक्स एरर सिंटेक्स एरर देखो यार जब तक हमें अब सिमेंटिक्स में जाते हैं तो एक्सपेक्टेड ऑर्डर है एक डिक्लेरेशन semantic analysis checks the semantic consistency of the code थोड़ा लेफ्ट में रखते हैं semantic analysis checks the semantic consistency of the code. It uses the syntax tree of the previous phase along with the symbol table to verify that the given source is semantically consistent. It also checks whether the code is conveying an appropriate meaning. Semantic analysis will check for type mismatches, incompatible operands, a function called with improper arguments, an undeclared variable. Functions of semantic analysis phase are helps you to store the information gathered and save it in symbol table or syntax tree. Allows you to perform type checking. Helps you to store type information gathered and save it in symbol table or syntax tree. Allows you to perform type checking in case of type mismatch when there are no exact type of corrections. Rules which satisfy the desired operation of a semantic error is shown. Collects type information and checks for type compatibility. ये तो मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आता. Semantic analysis checks the semantic consistency of the code. It uses the syntax tree of the previous phase along with the symbol table to verify the given source code is semantically consistent. It also checks whether the code is conveying an appropriate meaning. A semantic analyzer will check for type mismatches, incompatible operands, a function called with improper arguments, and undeclared variable. For functions of semantic analysis phase are helps you store information gathered and save it in a, a symbol table or syntax tree. Yeah. allows you to perform type checking in the case of type mismatch where there are no exact type correction rules which satisfy the desired operation. A semantic consistency. अब semantics पे जाते हैं. Semantic, semantic. What is semantics? It's related to what? Semantic connected with the meaning of words. Semantic is the study of reference meaning of words. Semantics C++ में देखते हैं यार. Semantics in C++. अच्छा 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 अच्छा. uh, Maybe more that I don't know, I've read about. So semantic analysis is about value of some type. अब मुझे बताओ कोई इसमें है क्या भाई? ओके ओके ओके. यार what is semantics? Anybody knows what is semantics? What is semantics? What is semantics? The meaning of reference of syntax semantics. यार पहले इंग्लिश इतनी डिफिकल्ट है. Semantics is the study of meaning that is used to understand human expression through language. Semantics is the study of conventional meaning conveyed by the use of words and phrases. अब मुझे बता हम क्या देख रहे थे? वीडियो कहाँ गया भाई? वो वीडियो कहाँ? अच्छा ऑडियो सुन रहे थे. ठीक. It uses the syntax tree of the previous phase along with the symbol table variable to verify that the given source code is semantically consistent. It also checks whether the code is conveying an appropriate meaning. Semantic analyzer will check for type mismatches, incompatible operands, a function called with improper arguments, and undeclared variable extra. Functions of semantic analysis phases are: helps you store type information gathered and save it in symbol table or syntax tree, allows you to perform type checking, allows you to perform type checking in the case of type mismatch where there are no exact type correction rules which satisfy the desired operation. A semantic error is shown. Collects type information, checks for type compatibility, checks if the source language permits the operands. अभी कितना टाइम हुआ? 8:30. 5 minutes के बाद, after every 30 minutes I take a 5-minute break, and for 5 minutes I just sit at one place and close my eyes, and it's like a power nap or meditation. I sit like this in during breaks because I have to become blank, blank, like clean, empty my mind. Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee की तरह. Semantic analysis. Semantic analysis checks the semantic consistency of the code. It uses the syntax tree of the previous phase along with the symbol table to verify that the given source code is semantically consistent. It also checks whether the code is conveying an appropriate meaning. Semantic analyzer will check for type mismatches, incompatible operands, a function called with improper arguments, undeclared variable extra. Functions of semantic analysis phase are: helps you to store information gathered and save it in symbol table or syntax tree. That's not how a man should be, bro. Helps you to store type information gathered and save it in symbol table or syntax tree. Allows you to perform type checking in run of type mismatch where there are no exact type correction rules which satisfy the desired asemantic error is shown. ये तो बिल्कुल मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा. Semantic analyzer will typecast the integer. एक सेकेंड. Float x is equal to 20.2. Float y is equal to x into 30. In the above code, the semantic analyzer will typecast the integer 30 to float 30 before. ये क्या बकवास है यार. Integer 30. In the case of all type checking क्या होता है भाई. Type checking in programming. C++. The C++ compile but it converts it. The C++ compile produces errors in some cases, but in others it converts data to the correct type. In addition to having the C++ compiler perform these automatic conversions, you can explicitly convert between types using typecasts. A related area involves overloaded function names. अच्छा अच्छा. Static type checking is performed whereas the So it's time now for a 5 minute break. I will write the time of my. I'll write the time right now and take a 5 minute break. And when I'm taking a break, I'll keep in my mind that I have 5 minutes with myself. So I'll just. This is what I do when I have a 5 minute break. I sit down and just meditate, close my eyes. Try and study as much as I can. 5 minutes of break. I write the time at which I continue studying. Type checking. Type checking ensures that the operands and the operator are of compatible types, generalized to include subprograms and assignments. Compatible type is either legal for the operator or language rules allow it to be converted to a legal type. Compiler is the software that converts them. चलो अब फिलहाल सिंटेक्स सिमेंटिक एरर्स से जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं कह सकते सिमेंटिक चेक्स द सिमेंटिक कंसिस्टेंसी ऑफ द कोड. It uses the syntax tree of the previous phase along with the symbol verify to verify that the semantically consistent. Semantic and syntax में क्या फर्क है यार? Semantic are not the syntax error is an incorrect construction, whereas okay, syntax error is an incorrect construction of the source code, whereas a semantic error is an erroneous logic that produces the wrong result. Syntax semantic. अच्छा semantic syntax क्या होता है? Format and address. Semantic error is about logic, the code. For example, we want to uh, add two numbers. If we don't write, uh, we don't store the summation of those two numbers in a variable. We just keep it empty is equal to a plus b. That is a semantic error. But if we write c is equal to a plus b, then the semantics are correct. So semantic error is it's logic. Semantic error is logic based. We use logical operation, logic based in comparisons when we are using C++ programming. You compare if x is greater than 5, x is greater than 5, x minus minus till x is greater than less than 5, x minus decrement x and increment decrement, and in those sorts of operations we use x plus x minus minus. We use the logic, in short the mathematical code or something like that when we are writing something. So that has to be right in semantics. But syntax is an incorrect construction of the source code. It is better in that. Syntax refers to grammar while semantics refer to meaning. That's also good, but the logic word is quite easier to understand. Syntax refers to grammar while semantics is erroneous that produces the wrong result. A program can be compiled. A missing semicolon in a program is an example of syntax error. How simple is that? A missing semicolon is an in a program is an example. Uh, okay, when something goes wrong with the grammar, we forget to put a bracket or semicolon. That is a syntax error. At the same time, in the semantics, when we do something, we're trying to create some formulas or something, and if the formulas are not right, then our result will also be wrong. And when the result ठीक है. When we use a logic that produces the wrong result when executed is called a semantic error. When we use a logic that produces a wrong result, that is called as a semantic error. Syntax is related to grammar, simple, like a full stop. When we write English, we have to when we write a full stop, we have to start the next sentence with a capital letter. So in programming, we have to at the end of every instruction or sentence or line, we use a semicolon. If we forget to put a semicolon, that sort of error is a syntax error. If we even forget to put a comma, that is a syntax error. And semantic is that produces a wrong result, a logic that produces a wrong result. Like if I want to add two numbers and I want to store the result in another number. So if I write C is equal to A plus B, I want to add A plus B and store it in C. But if I forget to store it and just write is equal to A plus B or something like that, that logic is not right. We can look for an example on semantic errors because syntax is uh, quite easy. It's about like a like a semicolon in programming that we put at the end. Semantic error, what the hell is that? Okay, yeah. Another one is that if we want to declare an integer, okay, integer, and we put the value, we declare an integer int x, and we put the value of a float in that integer, then that's a semantic error because it's the meaning is not right. We declared an integer to put the value of an integer in the variable, but we put the value of a float, so that is a semantic error. But it is grammatically correct. Sometimes syntax error can occur, but the semantics can be right. Sometimes semantic. Right now we know only that if we have a semantic error, it can be syntactically correct. The grammar can be correct. We put the semicolons, everything in line, but the meaning, the semantics focus on the meaning, the logic of that. Okay, now it's easier. Now it's a bit simple to understand. Let's go into the phases of compiler. It has six. We are on the fourth phase of compiler. Okay, intermediate code generator. It generates intermediate code, which is a form that can be readily executed by a machine. So easier. Let's put the example slightly easy on this one. Examples are very, very easy. What's so bad about it? Why is the compiler not using easy examples or something like that? We have to use easy examples, man. I don't want to make it hard for myself. I want to make it as easy, as simple as possible. Let's put this example. Type checking. Type checking means if we declare an integer, we cannot put the value of a float or a character in that integer. So if we have a data type which is specified for something, we can't put another data type in it because it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's not true or it's not right. So it focuses on the meaning. The semantic focuses on the meaning, while the syntax is about the grammar of a semicolon at the end, a bracket at the start, like something, the pattern. Semantics is related to expected format. There is an expected format which we call as a grammar or whatever we call it, expected format. And if we do something unexpected, we put something of the unexpected format, it can go wrong. Syntax is all about discovering structure in the code. The main aim was to make sure that the source code in syntax analysis, the main aim is to make sure that the source code which was written by the programmer is correct or not. Syntax analysis is based on the rules based on specific programming language by constructing the parse tree with the help of tokens. It also determines the structure of source language, grammar, or syntax of the language. Here is a list of tasks performed in this phase. Obtain tokens from lexical analyzer. Check if the expression is syntactically correct or not. Report all. Huh. And also, it also constructs a parse tree. A parse tree is a hierarchical structure. A family parse tree is father, son, son to son's children, and that sort of like a family. How we present it. And let's chill out. Syntax analysis is all about discovering, it determines whether or not text follows the main aim of this phase is to make sure that the source code word written by the programmer is correct or not. Syntax analysis is based on the rules based on specific programming language by constructing with that, but also define. Obtain tokens from lexical analyzer. Checks if the expression is syntactically correct or not. Report all syntax error. Construct a hierarchical structure is known as a parse tree. Oh, example. Semantic analysis. Semantic analysis checks the semantic consistency of the code. It uses the syntax tree of the previous phase along with the symbol table to verify that the given source code is semantically consistent. It also checks whether the source code is conveying an appropriate meaning. Semantic analyzer will check for type mismatches, incompatible operands, function with improper arguments, undeclarable variable function of semantic analysis phase are. Helps you to store type information gathered and save it in symbol table or syntax tree. Allows you to perform the example. Oh, intermediate code generation. Once the semantic analysis phase is over, the compiler generates intermediate code for the target machine. It represents a program for some abstract machine. Let's go. Once the semantic analysis phase is over, like we have checked the semantics, the meaning, the logic of the mathematical statements or anything. Once the mathematical uh, statements are checked, we go into intermediate code. Intermediate is between high level and machine level, needs to be generated. It makes it look easy to translate into target code. The intermediate code needs to be generated in such a manner that makes it easy to translate into target machine code. Functions on intermediate code generation. It should be generated from semantic representation of the source program, holds the values completed during the process of translation, allows you to translate the intermediate code into target language, allows you to maintain precedence ordering of the source language. It holds the correct number of operands. Once the semantic analysis phase is over, the compiler generates intermediate code for target machine. It represents intermediate code with the help of address code method is t1 is equal to into float, t2 is equal to rate into t1, t3. Code optimization. The next phase of code optimization or intermediate code. This phase removes unnecessary parallel. It is optional. Code optimization is optional. The next phase is of code optimization or intermediate code. This phase removes unnecessary code line and arranges the sequence of statements to speed up the execution of the program without wasting resources. The main goal of this phase is to improve on intermediate code to generate a code that runs faster and occupies less space. The primary function of this phase are it helps you to establish a trade-off between execution and compilation speed. Uh, Improves the running time of the target program, generates streamlined code still in intermediate representation, removing unreachable code, getting you rid of unused variables, removing statements which are not altered from the loop. Consider the following code generation. Intermediate code generation. uh, and you need to stay a bit hydrated while studying. Once the semantic analysis phase is over, the compiler generates intermediate code for the target machine. It represents a program for some abstract machine. क्या बोल रहे हो यार? Semantic analysis checks the semantic consistency. I got it. Type checking, type mismatching. इंटीजर के अंदर फ्लोटिंग वैल्यू नहीं डाल सकते हम और मीनिंग है it's based on the logic, and if the logic is not right, the results will not be right. We will get wrong results. Erroneous logic of the statement which produces wrong results. Once the semantic analysis phase is over, the compiler generates intermediate code for them. It represents a program for some abstract. Intermediate code is between the high level and machine level. Needs to be generated, makes it look easy to translate into. Functions on intermediate code generation. It should be generated from the semantic representation of the source program. Holds the values computed during. Once the semantic analysis phase is over, the compiler generates intermediate code for the target machine. It represents a program for some abstract machine. Intermediate code is between the high level language and machine level language. This intermediate code needs to be generated in such a manner that makes it look easy to translate into target machine code. Functions on it should be generated from semantic representation of the source program. Holds the values computed during the process of translation. Helps you to translate the intermediate code into target language, allows you to maintain precedence ordering of the stay away from girls at all costs. Phase for intermediate code generation. Once the analysis phase is over, let me stretch my legs first. Once the semantic analysis phase is over, the compiler generates intermediate code for target machine. It represents a program for some abstract machine. Intermediate code is between the high level and machine level language. Intermediate code needs to be generated in such a manner that makes it easy to translate into the target machine code. Functions or intermediate code generation. It should be generated from semantic representation of the source program. Holds holds the values computed during the process of translation. Helps you to translate the intermediate code into target language. Allows you to maintain precedence offering of the source language. It holds the correct number of operands of the instruction. Once the semantic analysis is over, the compiler generates intermediate code over the target machine. It represents a program for some abstract machine. Intermediate code is between the high level and machine level language. This intermediate code needs to be generated in such a manner that makes it look easy to translate into the target machine code. Function for intermediate code generation should be generated from semantic representation of the source program. Holds the values computed during the process of translation. Helps you to translate the intermediate code into target language. Allows you to maintain presence in the ordering of the source language. Holds the correct number of the operands. Example: total is equal to count plus rate into 5. Intermediate code with the help of address method is t1 is equal to int to float, t2 is equal to rate into t1. So the key to studying is feeling good about yourself, and even if there's sometimes you might notice there might be music running in your background, some songs, make sure that uh, you try not to listen to music, you listen to something, it plays in your background even when you're studying. It's absolutely okay, it's normal. When you're studying you might hear some music running in your background or something. Phase 5, code optimization. The next phase of is code optimization or intermediate code. This phase removes unnecessary code lines and arranges the sequence of the. I gotta go to the washroom. Oh.